How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about The Nice House on the Lake, book number 4. This is from DC's Black Label, and overall it's another really good issue of the series. This one focuses on the comedian character and also helps you see how the residents are adjusting to long-term life. Definitely one of the issues that really progresses a story along and has some really big revelations at the end. And overall, lots of really cool stuff to dig into. You know, it's actually kind of funny. The first issue of the comic started out a little bit slow, but last issue had some big revelations and mysteries to it. And so does this one. You know, by the end of it, you're like, okay, a lot's gone on here, and now there's quite a bit to think about in the new status quo. But before we get into any more of that, talking about the book, let's take a look at the cover. We get the credits on the top, The Nice House on the Lake, book 4, and we get the symbols. Now, the symbols move one each time. Now, the third one, for whatever reason, when it lit up was red, but we're back to yellow again. So one more and we'll be at the halfway point of the series, and then we got 5 more symbols, and that is something to really think about. I was talking to someone about this in real life, and they're like, yeah, you never know. You get to hear, then there might be a book 11, like maybe the symbols will be scratched out and then there'll be something else. I don't know if they're going to pull any tricks on this, but as of right now, I can assume it's going to only be 10 issues long, and we're almost at the halfway point. Then you get book 4 and DC Black Label at the bottom, and then you get to see our main character for this issue hanging out in a lake covered with trash, and part of it's on fire, and he's in a little tube there, a little inner tube there with a beer, just kind of relaxing in the fire. This has got to be, it's a little different because it's a little more comedic, kind of fitting because he's a comedian, but a little more comedic than the other ones, but still an element of horror and dystopia to it, and I find this really funny and fitting for the issue. So, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and, well, first let's flip open and do the credits. There we go. The double page Nice House on the Lake spread, and there's the credits at the bottom, and it's still the same people this time around. James Tynion IV as the writer, and Alvaro Martinez Bueno as the artist and the cover artist, and they're both listed as co-creators there. Now anyway, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot of this issue. Now, I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the book's about. But no major spoilers for book 4. I will have to talk openly about books 1 through 3, Anyway, we open up, as we always do, in the mysterious post-apocalyptic red world, really wondering what exactly this place is, but you see this wrecked ship, so he's on the ruined docks, and he has a stick there, and, he's the comedian, he's pretending it's the stick, like from a stand-up comedy microphone, and he's talking about how, after the first week, they started to worry about food, and he was making jokes like how the aliens had removed their organs, and, they weren't going to need food. Now, that's all a joke, because eventually the packages did start coming, and that's one of the things with this issue, is they start to talk about how they get more supplies, but more on that in a little bit. We, as always with these prologue segments, take a little trip to the past, and this cool, it kind of reads like this, where you go across the top and the bottom. But he's there with one of his old friends, and he says that he doesn't remember the friend's face, so whenever you see him in the flashback, it's all scratched out and stuff. But he's talking about how he really loves this girl that's one of their friends, but he knows both of them are in the wrong place in their life, and that if they tried anything right now, it would ultimately crash and burn, so he's fine with just being friends with her until they're both more stable. And the other friend leaves, and Walter, who had been listening to their conversation, goes, "Wow, you usually come off as really stupid, but maybe you see how some things work better than other people, So this guy, he's a comedian, he's jokey, but maybe he does understand interpersonal relationships a little better, So that kind of plays into his character as he's the comedian, he's the goofball, but ultimately in this issue, he will figure out quite a bit more than you'd expect him to. But anyway, he goes back to talking about the packages, and you see after the first week, they start to wonder where the food will be, and then a box of food shows up in a package, as well as a notebook full of paper. And they find that if they write what they need on pages from the notebook, really cool shot of all the ships in the water there. But anyway, they find that if they write what they need, so day 15, 2 whole chickens, 4 loaves multi-grain bread, they find if they write what they need on here, that Walter will give them a package on their doorstep, and that way they can, literally eat whatever they want or have whatever they want. But they also found that if they take a sheet of paper back to their room, they can write a private list for Walter. So they can take the paper back to their room, and here's an example. David, the comedian, David's awesome list of very necessary classified information, top secret. But he's listing things just to see kind of what Walter will do. The most expensive watches money can buy, bottles of liquor money can buy, Fabergé eggs and sunglasses. This funny thing here, he's like, day 23, I want a weighted blanket. Day 24, a lighter weighted blanket, So this is his crazy things. He's also like, first appearance of Batman, Superman, first appearance of Wonder Woman, another bottle of the most expensive liquor. So it's kind of a funny thing here. And this is one thing right off the bat I want to say about this issue, is part of me was kind of worried, they're like, oh, we're on vacation here, it's going to be 7 days. Part of me was worried that it'd be like, okay, 7 days up, you're all dead now. I was a little worried that this would just be a book about a week-long experience and then it would all wrap up. But we quickly open on day 27, and we get to see that David has begun living in the theater room, and he has just wrecked up the place. So yeah, sad to see a cool theater go like that. I'm wondering what they do about trash. Does Walter take the trash cans out? But you get to see some things he ordered, and actually they don't show you that list till later, so you're looking at some of this stuff like, whoa, what's this craziness? But yeah, there's the comics there, and at one point on the list he asked for a monkey in a spacesuit, but it appears to not be moving, so I'm guessing they're not going to get any real animals in. But boy, this shot really does show the passage of time, and you really get to see that, yeah, he's kind of letting himself go. He's got a Nerf gun there and everything. But it's sort of like, hey, we can do whatever we want. We have all this set up, and you get to see the characters kind of changing as, the course of almost a whole month has gone on. You get these two hanging out in the library, and they have some sort of secret, something about the books, but we don't get to find out too much about that. But we do also get our little check-in with our main character, and from episode 1, Ryan. And, it seems like we get just a page with her every week. I thought she'd be much more of a main character, but it seems like we just check in with her every single time. But she has fallen asleep by the front door. She was trying to see the packages come in, but the packages never come in when anyone's looking. So she stays out there all day until she eventually falls asleep. And then once she falls asleep, the packages come. And you also get to see his cowboy hat he ordered. But yeah, it's this sort of we are cued in as an audience later to how the packages get there, but yeah, they don't ever really show the characters. But there is this other thing. One of the other characters is becoming depressed and going off by themselves, but the things she orders never come in, and we're not cued in until much later into the story what she's been trying to order, but it is this really dark storyline when we do eventually find out what she's been trying to do, and it does ultimately have quite a big payoff. It's not just something they set up and then like, okay, forget about that for 2 or 3 issues. No, they set it up here and it's paid off in a pretty intense way towards the end. So she's trying to order something and Walter won't let her have it, and we get this sense that Walter is not going to just let them do absolutely anything. There are a few things they can order and a few things they can't, so you get to see that. You also get this fun thing. He's becoming sort of their mailman, that's sort of his big deal, and he's got packages for everybody. They all have their little symbol on each one, and the packages are becoming a big deal. They're joking and talking about them. They're ordering funny things, and yeah, this issue, you do get to see how characters change and move and how they're spending all their time, like, even just in the beginning, he's talking about, yeah, today I'm gonna jump off the balcony and into the pool, and they're like, oh, you'll never make it, and it's like, yeah, well, that's just what I'm gonna do today, and one of them is planning a big dinner, and they're getting all excited, like, oh, we're cooking a specialty dinner, and it's going to be kind of, everybody's just building up to that, because, I mean, what the heck else are you going to do? You're going to start cooking, So this is one of those issues where you see how the group's changing and moving and how everybody's either trying to find a hobby or doing something stupid, and then the packages are kind of this thing, where everyone's like, oh, what did the aliens bring us today? And I'm wondering if that's kind of changing how people look at Walter. It's like, okay, they're all upset about Walter finding out he's an alien that's killed the whole human race, but at the same time, he's almost become like a Santa Claus now. It's like, I hate you, Walter, but what you gonna bring me today? Are you gonna really bring me the first appearance of Batman? Are you really gonna bring me all these crazy things I asked for? So I'm wondering, getting that bit of dependency on him, and, I really did like, seeing the characters. It is kind of a jump in time. I really push the story forward, but then again, we are almost at the halfway point here, so it's really good to establish this world, a group of characters. They can have anything they want, that's kind of already evident because they were in the nice house on the lake, that they could have almost anything they want, but they're trapped there, and to get to see that, to get to see them living, some of them are in very, hedonistic lifestyles, and, just kind of living day to day for these passing pleasures, and, building up, like you saw the state of the movie room in the beginning, these giant piles of trash. You're really getting to see, like, okay, they're living how they want. There's not necessarily any meaning, and they're just accumulating these, this mess, and it's like, okay, what do these characters have? What do they do? And there is some interesting stuff, but then again, you do get the flip side, you do get the darker element, and when this book reveals towards the end where it's going, which I won't spoil, it does get to this, kind of dark ending, talking about a very dark subject, and then playing out to this huge revelation that is probably going to change the way they think about living there. And I don't really want to spoil it, but it's an interesting way. This is probably the comedian, the best character to pick when talking about long-term life. He's jovial, but being a comedian, he actually will look at things a little deeper, and yeah, he'll figure stuff out. And there's one part where he's asking everybody, did you fly or did you drive in? And it's like, what are you going on about for that? That's a weird thing to ask somebody, but then it has this big payout, and you're like, what would flying or driving in have any sort of payout? And then you're like, oh, he might have figured something pretty big out. So that is a really interesting thing, and I definitely recommend reading this. Like I said, I don't want to go too far into the end because there's lots of major spoilers at the end, but it's definitely one of those comics that ends with you going, that's a lot to think about. But anyway, really did like this issue. Like I said, it started out a little slow back in issue 1, and then issue 2 got better, and then issue 3 and 4 were just these huge, big, bombshell revelation issues, and I'm really wanting to know where this comic's going, and I'm really wanting the next issue, but that's for next month, and then we'll be at the halfway point, so I'm wondering what will happen at the halfway point. That might be something big, especially, I don't know how they'll collect this as trade. I imagine it'd be 2 trade paperbacks, so that might be the end of the first trade paperback. That's crazy. Anyway, to everyone who's listened to me ramble so long, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. If you guys want to see more, you can click there and see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Nice House on the Lake playlist on the bottom if you want to see my reviews for the first 3 issues. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.